Hello everybody and welcome to your daily dose of Lorne. I of course am Lorne, and today I'm going to share with you my top 5 favorite DC characters. When thinking about comic book characters, I can get a little specific and I could say, I'm going to give you my top 5 superheroes, or my top 5 vigilantes, or my top 5 anti-heroes, or my top 5 villains. But to make it simpler, I'm just gonna say my top 5 favorite DC specific characters. And I really had to think about this because there's a lot of characters that I like, and I came up actually with a list of 7, and I'm gonna give you my top 5, starting with number 5. Number 5 is actually probably the face, the franchise, the cornerstone of the DC universe, and that is Superman. Why Superman is my number 5 favorite? A couple years ago, he was actually probably my number 1. Superman basically has set the tone for all other superheroes. As far as story and, inner conflict and all this, like he's the cornerstone, like I said. My number 4 happens to be none other than Aquaman. Now, let me tell you something. Even before this Aquaman movie came out, he was one of my top guys mostly because people have always been kind of hard on him, making fun of him and like whatever, which I think the movie actually kind of proved a lot of people wrong, so that's good. But I kind of always saw that potential, like he's okay. A lot of people say, oh, his powers are just useful in water. Incorrect. But yeah, I mean, I just always loved his powers that he has, and just yeah. Number 3. Number 3 and number 2 are kind of a tie, but I ranked them like this. Number 3 happens to be none other than Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. I didn't really know much about the Green Arrow. I watched, I've seen him on the Justice League cartoon, but didn't really know anything about him until watching Arrow. And I know Arrow's added a lot of stuff that's maybe not in the comics. I understand that. But just, you have a guy doesn't know a thing about survival, doesn't know a thing about fighting, anything like that. And he's stranded on an island for 5 years. Stranded on an island, whatever. Anyways, and he has to basically learn how to survive, how to kill to survive, and he just becomes a completely different person. And when he comes back home, after 5 years, which he probably could have come home sooner if he really wanted to, but yeah, he's just completely changed and is a real badass, really. Like, if you haven't seen the show, watch it. It's one of my favorite shows. But yeah, it's incredible. Number 2 is one of probably the baddest villains slash anti-heroes in DC, and I'm talking about Deathstroke. And Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, I actually named my guinea pig after him at one point, little Slade, because her face reminded me of his mask. But yeah, I mean, you can't, I don't think you can list the top 10 characters without having Deathstroke in there. I mentioned how the Green Arrow was a badass. Well, Deathstroke kind of takes the cake, and I know the Green Arrow and Deathstroke, I know Deathstroke, sorry, is more of a Batman villain, but as far as on the TV show goes, those two are kind of like arch rivals, and even now, like on Titans and everything, man, Deathstroke is just, he's Deathstroke. He's my top two guy. He's my top two guy. And speaking of Titans, that brings me to my number one all-time character, the man who has lived in the shadows, both literal and figuratively, for far too long. The man who finally decided to break out on his own, escape those shadows, and start creating his own. I'm talking about Dick Grayson, Nightwing. When I found out that, you know, because everyone hears about Batman and Robin, and again, Robin's usually made fun of and whatever, and when I found out that Nightwing was Dick Grayson, because there came a time where I was like really interested in just looking up information and everything, and I was like, Nightwing, who's that? And I look and it's like, real name, Dick Grayson. I'm like, wait, that's Robin. Wait, what? And yeah, so like just how he was the first Robin, and he just didn't want to be under Batman's shadow anymore. He didn't want to be the sidekick anymore. He just wanted to do things for himself, and just a lot of just conflict and confusion for the guy. And you know, he led the Titans and everything, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm reading the comics, some Nightwing comics right now, and just how he leaves Batman, moves to Bloodhaven, and Bloodhaven is apparently worse than Gotham, and he's just like, I'm gonna clean up this town. And he just, yeah, like, you know, and even how at some points in his life he has been Batman, and just that kind of just shows how he can fill that role, and he kind of in himself, he thinks that he can even do it better than Bruce Wayne ever did. In my personal opinion, I also think he did, because Batman, honestly, I've never really been a fan. Kind of watching Arrow and learning more about the vigilante kind of stuff has kind of made me appreciate Batman a little bit more, but the boy didn't even make my top 7 list, so I mean, I'm not sure where he falls, but Nightwing, all-time number 1, that's right, boy. And yeah, so to recap, number 5, Superman, 4, Aquaman, 3, Green Arrow, 2, Deathstroke, number 1, Nightwing. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the rest of my list, maybe I'll do the next 5 in another video, and then the next 5 in another, and so on and so forth. If you guys want to see that, make sure you hit the like button and comment down below to let me know. And also let me know who your favorite, not even DC specific, just let me know who your favorite comic book character is, and I can already see the comments of, oh, DC sucks, all blah, 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 blah. That's fine. You think what you want. And I just want to thank you for still watching the video anyways, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace!